Call this emergency meeting to order. The City Commission, Rio Grande City virtual meeting. It is approximately 6 p.m. and it is June the, what's the day's date? What do we have? Is it the
18th?
18th. So June the 18th, 2020,
5
approximately
p.m.
2 p.m. And it's a virtual meeting. This time we'll have the invocation by Commissioner Ramirez, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Jones.
Let's bow our heads. Thank you, Heavenly God, for allowing us to gather here today. I please ask you to please clear our heads so that we may make some wise decisions for the city. I ask you for your precious will to guide us and to protect everybody in harm's way. In your name we pray. Amen.
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 Commissioner.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of
The United States of America and to
and to the republic and one nation under God, indivisible,
Liberty and
justice for
honor the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to the
Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Next business and orders item 2. Ms. Garza, can you read the item 2, please?
Let me do the roll call first.
Oh, yeah. Hey, go ahead. Roll call in finding a quorum. Ms. Garza, please.
Yes, Mayor Villarreal,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Garza. He's absent. Commissioner Flores.
Here.
Commissioner Ramirez.
Here.
And Commissioner Jones.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Go ahead and read item 2, Ms. Garza, please.
Yes, item 2 is discussion and possible action related to the city of Rio Grande City's response to the COVID-19 epidemic, including but not limited to extending the city's disaster declaration plan until July 24th, 2020, and adopting the city's fifth amended order number 2020-1-E, instituting emergency measures due to a public health emergency.
Thank you, Ms. Garza. And we'll go ahead and start with you, Dr. Vasquez, if you can give us in as to leading up to today's meeting and the conversations we've had in the past. Dr. Vasquez.
Good afternoon, Mayor. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for inviting me. We have had a very busy day once again. Yesterday, we reported about 55 new cases for COVID-19 infection in our county. I do not have the tally for the day. TDH is falling behind. They did not finalize numbers until early or this morning for yesterday's results. I'm expecting to have something in the next couple of hours. However, the number of people that we are seeing in the different clinics has exponentially grown tremendously over the last week or so. Today alone in my clinic, we saw about 110 people with COVID-related issues. And the lines in the drive-through facility are taking 5 and 6 hours. We are actively working on trying to open a second testing facility within the park or in the vicinity to try to alleviate these long hours. The problem we have had is that the personnel for the company, the laboratory company that is working there, is very scarce. They are not able to recruit and retain medical assistants due to the long hours as well as the high risk that this job involves. So they are paying very well, but they have not been able to keep with employees. So I had just sent a text message a little while ago to the media group, which I have shared information before with the numbers and everything, and they are trying to help us to recruit medical assistants to provide a second testing facility for the county. Other than that, the number of cases continue increasing. We had reported yesterday that we have our first case in the nursing home. That patient is still alive, thanks God, but doing very poorly and just expecting not to make it in the next few hours. Meantime, we have already initiated testing activities inside the nursing home. The employees have already been tested and the patients are going to be tested tomorrow. testing has been difficult in the sense that even though we have the material needed to be testing, the manpower is not being enough. We are really being having difficulties to keep up with the demand through the drive-through facility or the entity that they represent. Other than that, we see with alarm the number of patients growing in the emergency room visits as well as in the Valley hospitals. We have up to 170 patients admitted in the hospital with COVID-related illnesses. We have about 80 people in ventilators within the different hospitals in the Valley. And we are now running at close to half of the ventilator capacity for the Valley. That is not an awful number, but this is something to be worried because a week or a week and a half ago, we didn't have that situation. We have the most 4 or 5 cases in each hospital, and now they have more than 25 or 30 in each hospital. So this is something that is rapidly evolving. For those that believe that the COVID numbers are increasing because we are testing more, that is true, but that's not the only reason by far. There is definitely a spike in the number of cases, as well as on the severity of the cases that we are seeing. More and more elderly patients are getting contaminated, and I am just worried this is just going to continue being the trend. It worries me also the fact that I am aware that some of the local party places, I mean, where they have gatherings and reunions and parties are going to be reopening, and there are planned big parties on those. At this point, I think that that's just a recipe for a big disaster in our community. If we were to allow parties of 500 people gathering together, we are going to have a tremendous problem in the next couple of weeks. Other than that, I am aware that we are putting in effect some a strong suggestion and a strong language in suggesting people from using masks and keeping the social distancing and keeping the groups in less than 10 people. I just don't know if this is going to be good enough at this point.
And that's the case, Dr. Vasquez. Obviously, the numbers have increased. Unfortunately, too drastic. The numbers are just in continuing. I mean, what was it, a few days ago, it was 40 some, and then 16, 20, and it just continues to rise. And in having that conversation with the judge and the other mayors as well, this is a concerted effort that we all have to do as a county, and of course all the municipalities, because if not, then it can really get out of hand quickly. And I know that we are challenged with what the governor has done, but at the same time, there are certain situations or modifications that we can do as well to make sure that we meet the needs of our community. But at this time, I know you have to get going, Dr. Vasquez. Commissioners, do you all have any questions for Dr. Vasquez at this time? Since he will be leaving us for another meeting. Any questions or anything regarding concerns that he has shared, and obviously where we're headed with this and what we want to do as per the new order and being in compliance and very similar page with the other municipalities in the county. Any questions for Dr.
I had one question for Dr. Vasquez about people who are asymptomatic or people who come in contact with somebody who has been tested positive. What are the recommendations as far as, self-quarantine 14 days or even getting tested? I know some people feel that, they don't feel any symptoms, but they're okay. So what would you recommend, doctor?
Commissioner, the guidelines now, other than the isolation, the 15 days or 14 days quarantine, it should be that everybody who is a contact of a positive should be tested. And the reason for it is, even though you may be highly suspicious to be infected, and you could say, well, why am I getting tested if I know my wife is positive? So I probably also positive. And the reason is that the people to be tested should be the contacts of somebody positive. It's not the contact of a contact. So, for instance, if I am positive and I am in contact with you, you should test. It doesn't mean that your wife should test. And unless you were to become positive at some point, then she should be tested. And if you are not, the chain ends there at that point. So what I'm trying to say, testing is very, very important to try to be controlling the disease. Because if you find somebody positive that you didn't expect, that's one more that you have to investigate and one more that you have to pursue. If you have somebody that is negative, that's somebody that you can send back to work or you can send them back to activities. So we have found a tremendous number of people that were asymptomatic, but they have been spreading this disease. And the fact is that even though most of the people will be asymptomatic, there is a still remaining population at high risk, and those are the ones that we are seeing now more and more often getting infected and getting severe disease. And that's what we need to try to prevent. So definitely testing to everybody who is in contact with somebody positive is recommended, or is the recommendation, and to stay quarantined for 14 days, all the household members of somebody positive.
Thank you, doctor.
If you don't have any other question, Mayor and Commissioners, just that suggestion, because it does worry me, the information that I got about 500 people parties coming out in some of the salons on this weekend. I know that part of the executive orders will say that just 50% of the occupancy of those salons should be allowed, okay? My advice, and I just explained that to the judge as well, my advice was to perhaps send a code enforcer ahead of those parties and to verify how many people had they been scheduled for. If they have been rented to host 500 people and their occupancy say 500 people, they shouldn't have more than 250. And perhaps we should have somebody there counting heads and making sure that everybody wears a mask and that they do not have more than the 250 people that they should be allowed, or whatever is the 50% capacity allowance. In that way, if anything, we could restrict. I mean, we are not going against the governor's order, but we are enforcing the 50%. And that perhaps will be a deterrent to conduct this type of activities. By no means I want to be against a governor's order or economical opening, but I do believe that a 500 people party at this point is a recipe to disaster.
Thank you, Dr. Vasquez.
Thank you, and
Thank
if
you
you
very
need anything
much.
else, I will be available for you all. I have a board meeting for the hospital, but text me questions if you need, and I will be glad to answer. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Vasquez. So at this time, I mean, as we're considering this, of course, the county already passed or signed an executive order. And what we're doing is aligning what we are doing here in close to the county's individual mandates. Mr. Perez, anything else you would like to add before we move on and consider this item?
No, sir. Our staff has been updated, so we should be ready to start monitoring the enforcement of what's about to be passed.
Okay. And as far as Dr. Vasquez mentioned, code enforcement, being out there, particularly in places where people are going to congregate. By and large, I think that the majority of businesses have been following some semblance of order as far as the mandates. There's some that have been laxed, and then there are some that are going above and beyond, which we've highlighted some of those in our COVID-19 best business practices videos. And just a shout out to those businesses that continue to go above and beyond. Thank you so much for doing that, because it really makes a difference in reference to minimizing the spread. However, obviously, what we're doing to date is not working. As Dr. Vasquez has mentioned, the numbers keep increasing day in, day out, and we must do something. We must take action at this point and try to curtail this within the next several weeks before it really explodes and get out of our hands. Any questions on orders, commissioners? Anything that or anything that you all would like to add to this?
No, Mayor, just to reiterate, like you're saying, man, safety is our number one concern. And I think all these recommendations that we're setting out or trying to recommend to the public to follow, I think they're good recommendations. And again, just to stay safe, I think we've seen a big number of positive tests, like Doctor mentioned earlier, and we just need to, again, practice all precautions and stay safe.
Right, and to the public, again, we must continue to operate with that sense of urgency that this is not gone. I mean, we need to go back to that mentality that we had earlier when we were leading pretty much the state as far as our numbers, and we had that mentality that we were practicing all this, and we must get back to that. If not, the numbers reflect that. The numbers just keep increasing, and we need to stop this. So to the public, please, continue to be cautious, wear your face coverings, sanitizing, social distancing. Let's get back to those practices and have that. And my concern too has been those pachangas, those barbecues, where large families are gathering, and without the practice of these protocols that we've established. So I caution people, just continue to practice these protocols and be safe, because if not, it can get ugly. It's already getting ugly, and we need to do something. So with that, anything else, Commissioner Flores, Commissioner Jones?
No, Your Honor, I mean, definitely in agreement with this order, Your Honor.
Anything you all would like to add to that before we? Thank you for calling me Your Honor. However,
That was me, of course. I was in hearings all day, Mayor.
Hey, coming from an attorney is good.
Mayor.
I guess you're in court. Still have that.
What was that, Mayor?
Anything else, Doc? I was going to call you Dr. Jones, Commissioner Jones.
That only works in restaurants,
Can't
man.
hear you, Commissioner Jones.
That only works in restaurants.
Are you muted, Commissioner Jones?
No, he's, I can hear him.
I'm good. It only works in restaurants.
Can't hear you, Commissioner Jones. You have something? Can I hear? Can you?
I think the
Hey,
mayor's having a
We're
little bit
playing
of
now.
reception
We're
problem.
playing. Even technology, right? All right. So, all right. So, are we ready to move on this item?
We're good. Is the mayor lagging or we're lagging?
I think
It's
the mayor
the mayor.
had trouble.
The mayor.
Oh.
He must be on a Wi-Fi.
Can you hear me now?
You're cutting out, Mayor.
Okay. Can everybody hear me, or am I still being lost here in all this, in the shuffle?
There you go. He must be lagging.
Yes. He's just having a little bit of reception problem.
All right. So,
T-Mobile.
maybe I should have done it at City Hall, right? All right. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
No better.
Give me a second. You know what? Let me go downstairs. I might have a better reception. Give me.
Mr. Perez, can you hear me? Yes.
I'm going downstairs to get better.
The tower
All
went down.
right. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, no better.
Yes.
All right. Give me a second. All right. Can everybody hear me now?
Hey, partner. Welcome on board.
All right. Hey, Elvis has left the building. Can everybody hear me okay? So, yes.
You're back on.
All right. So we're back on. Okay. So moving forward, before that intermission there. So as was discussed, of course, Dr. Vasquez, where we're at, our health authority, the county judge, the other mayors, and of course, at this point, our commission, and moving forward with this order. So at this time, do you have any other questions before we take action on this new order or amended order? If not, we entertain a motion at this time.
I so move, Mayor.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Jones.
I'll second the motion.
We have a second by Commissioner Ramirez. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, raise your left hand. Okay, motion carries. At this time, we'll go ahead and proceed with new orders. And again, to the public, we urge you to follow suit with all the previously established protocols and make sure that we keep everyone safe. And to all the businesses, please continue to comply with all these requirements and protocols. And it's got to be a unified effort with the county and with the other municipalities in order for us to definitely take hold of this COVID-19 spread. And this is the start here, though, to make sure that we get back to leading the state in our fight against COVID-19. And definitely, by taking this action, thank you, commissioners, for moving forward on this. And at this point, let's continue the fight. With that, do we?
To
Go
be
ahead.
on record, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem Garza joined at 5:06.
Okay. This time, do we entertain a motion to adjourn or anything else?
A motion to adjourn, Mayor.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Ramirez. We have a second by Commissioner Flores. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much, and we'll see you at the EDC meeting shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.